Hello everyone, how's it going? So in this video I'm gonna very quickly show y'all how I changed the color on my Glock 19. It's a Polymer 80 Glock 19 build, and I got tired of the color that it came with when I first bought it. I changed it once before, and now as you can see in the video right now, how the slide is kind of scratched up and all that, and it's losing its finish. So I'm gonna show y'all how I broke it down, took it apart, taped it up, and refinished it. It took me about maybe 30 minutes to do, and it really just takes longer to dry than anything. So I'm going to show y'all a quick time lapse of the disassembly. If you want to see a better video to disassemble this with much clearer instructions, I'll post a link to it to someone else's channel that does this better than me. Alright, now that the slide's all prepped, I'm going to show y'all what I did to tape it off and all that. I'm not going to worry about my frame in this video. I don't really want to paint it. I think it looks good as it is. But back to the slide portion. Normally I just use some blue masking tape to cover up all the areas where I don't want paint, like the bottom of the slide and where the firing pin goes and stuff like that. So I'm going to tape that up real quick. So the first little strip of tape I'm going to apply is going to be here to the bottom of the slide, because I don't want anything getting in there or gunking up my rails and stuff. Paint's pretty hard to get off once it gets in there. Although acetone is my favorite thing to get paint off. Just use like a little bit of acetone and a Q-tip. That'll get all the paint off. I also put some tape on the back where my firing pin goes in and all that. You don't want anything getting in there and gunking that up. Just put a little bit of tape in there. Make sure it doesn't cover any of the actual surface of the slide you want to paint, or else the paint won't get in there. So I just push it in with the flathead or with something pointy. And then once it's in there, it'll be better. Just like that. Then tuck the tape in any area where it looks like it might come out or something once you spray it. I usually add a double layer of it, so I'm going to put another small little layer on there of tape. You can't really have too much tape. You don't want the paint to seep through or get around the one layer of tape you have, so the more you use the better. Then I also tape up where the extractor goes. I usually just ball up a little bit of tape and put it in there, sort of make it double-sided, and it makes it a lot easier to stick in there because it's a very small area. Just put it in there just like that. Alright. The next piece I'm going to put where the firing pin protrudes from. So right on the little back of the slide opening right there. Alright. Put a little piece of tape right there and tuck it in so the paint doesn't get covered in any of those areas. You want full coverage of the slide so it looks nice. Just look over it and make sure that all the areas are covered that you don't want paint in. And once you're pretty satisfied with that, then you're good to move on. Alright, these are some of the materials I used to prep my slide. So I used acetone to wipe off all the paint that I used to have on my slide. You see how it's nice and shiny now? All I used was acetone and a rag, just nail polish remover. And then for the prep, I used that little can right there. It's just a foaming spray that degreases everything. So it's just a multi-purpose foaming prep cleaner. Degreases your slide and allows better adhesion of the paint. These are 3 colors I had lying around. I used one of them as my primer coat almost, and then another one to cover it in the color that I wanted. So first you're going to see me go in there with the satin nutmeg just to give it a little base coat. And after a few coats of this, I'll go back around with the darker paint that I want, and it'll have a nice little buildup. But you want to go in small little strokes, and you also don't want to overdo it so it doesn't run. So just light sprays and then let it sit for like 5 minutes and then do it again. Don't try and get full coverage on your first go, or else it'll run and it'll look ugly and you'll have to restart pretty much by wiping the old stuff off and getting new paint on there. So this is the second coat now, after waiting about 5 minutes, and just another light coat again. It's kind of harder for it to run on the second coat, but you still don't want to overdo it. Just light sprays and make sure it's as even as you can. But if you can't get it all on this one, wait another 5 minutes and do it again. This isn't the final coat anyway, so you're fine. So now I've done a few coats of that base layer pretty much, and now I'm gonna go with my darker paint, the color that I'm actually gonna go with. I wanted a darker brown for my slide, and this is me applying some of that dark coat now. Same thing I'm just gonna do for some light coats, small increments of paint buildup instead of all at once. I don't want it running, I don't want any issues with it, I want it to look nice. You can see it's a little darker here. The lighting is pretty bad in my garage, I can't do much about it. I'm also filming with one hand and spraying with the other, so those are some chairs my wife was painting in there with me. It was starting to look better, and I'm applying another coat. At this point, the slide has pretty good coverage and it looks nice. I haven't had any runs or any issues with it, so I'm pretty happy. That's pretty much what you're going for. And you see how I got creative? I hung it with some chopsticks and some wire. Yeah. Now that we're back, I can show you the finished slide, and you see how it looks. This is like a $4 or $5 color change because all you need is a can of spray paint. And we'll be back after this is all put together. Alright, real quick, all I have left to do is throw on the barrel and the recoil spring guide rod and all that, and throw the slide on again, see how it turns out. So I think it came out pretty nice. Normally I would have given it more time to dry, but the fingerprints aren't really sticking. I can wipe them off and all that, but due to the video I had to give it only a little bit of time to dry so I can show you guys what it turned out to look like. But normally wait like 2 or 3 days and make sure it's not tacky or anything when you're trying to put it back together. But yeah, I think it's a nice cheap way to change the color of your gun if you get bored with it. And if it gets damaged or anything, all you need is another like $4 can of spray paint and you change it again. You can be as creative as you want and change the look of the gun whenever you want. And thanks for watching, everyone.